Hey everyone, I was just meditating on the verses for this morning, and verse 3 really caught my attention about this curtain that separates the holy place. And obviously when Jesus was on the cross and he said it is finished, the veil then, the curtain then tore in two. And this was a symbol that there was no longer that separation between us and between God. And I was just reminded of this, and I was meditating on it, and I was reminded of a story of when my sister and we were younger, my oldest sister. Whenever we would have to share something, there would always be a rule of you break, I'll choose. So as soon as you call that, and our parents would say, you have to share this, you break, I'll choose. And basically what that meant was you break it in half, and then I'll choose the bigger piece. That's basically what it was in essence. So we would just take it to some crazy extremes. We would get a ruler out, we would measure it, make sure it's the perfect cut, we'd take our time, it would be like a surgical cut to make sure that this was a perfect 50-50, because you don't want to cut it 60-40 because you don't want the other person to get the better deal. And I was reminded of this because actually when Jesus died on the cross and the veil was torn in two, this was the most perfect break. This was the most perfect cut. Not because it was an exact measurement, but because it meant we had access to God. We were cut off from him. Our sin had then cut us off from accessing him. But when Jesus died on the cross for us, we had access to him. And it wasn't that we chose him. We chose to have this, but he chose us. He breaks and he chooses. You see, the temple was made with human hands. But he no longer dwells in temples made by human hands, but he dwells in our hearts. He's chosen us, and he dwells within our hearts. Our hearts and our bodies are now the temple, but our hearts are now the holy place. We're now holy beings that are one with God. We now have access to him. And I was just reminded of that this morning, that no longer does he dwell in places, in buildings, in temples, but he dwells within us. And he chose us. He wants to be in us. He wants to delight in us. He wants to have a relationship with us. So I just hope that this is a small, short encouragement to start your day. And I just hope it blesses you. Remember, he chose you. He loves you. You are no longer cut off from him, but you have access to him because he loves you. And this is the perfect break for us to have access to him. And he has chosen us. He breaks and he chooses. Amen.